Yo, what's going on, yo? I'm JB Hoops, and today I'm breaking down the game of the 6'7 sophomore out of Pepperdine, Maxwell Lewis. He has rapidly improved since high school and looks like a potential top 10 pick in the upcoming draft, and let's just get right into it. Through 19 games this season, Max Lewis is averaging 19.6 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 2.9 assists, as well as just under a steal and a block per game, shooting over 50% from the field, 40% from 3, and 80% from the stripe. Max Lewis has been super productive and efficient, and let's break down his game. Starting off with his on-ball scoring upside, Max Lewis is a super smooth athlete. His movements are fluid and methodical, but he also has the ability to turn on the jets and explode both horizontally and vertically, as you can tell by this crazy poster he had before the season. Max Lewis has had some incredible self-creation flashes. His handle has really developed and he's getting much better at effectively using it, combining it with his quickness, footwork and body control to create separation off the bounce and get to his spots. Despite pretty poor spacing and constant defensive attention, Lewis has the ability to score on all three levels and is developing into a pretty reliable bucket getter. Max Lewis already has a really solid pull-up, and it's an important tool for him to use in the pick and roll and when defenses run him off the line. Max can hit the one dribble pull-up midi or break his defender down and smoothly flow into his shot, and this off the dribble shooting ability has also extended to beyond the arc, where almost half of his attempts are unassisted looks. Max Lewis can also create a look for himself at the rim off the bounce, but last season and early this year he wasn't really getting to the rim in the half court outside of post-ups, but recently he's been more aggressive and focused on getting all the way inside and finishing at the rim. His first step is great and he takes super long strides, especially after he picks the ball up, and he can also be pretty creative with the gathers and moves he uses to get downhill. He's busted out a few spin moves, hezzy crosses and step throughs, and overall his handle, body control and athleticism enable him to be very creative with the moves he uses to create off the bounce. Now there's definitely still areas he needs to work on with his off the dribble game. I would like him to continue to get better at using his handle and physical tools to cover ground on the court. Too often he just dribbles in place, so I'd like to see him continue to be more decisive with his moves and put more of a focus on getting to the rim in the half court, as at times he can be pretty reliant on his pull-up jumper. Now to talk more about how he is overall as a finisher. Max Lewis is a very good finisher inside. He gets out and runs in transition for easy buckets, and it's there where he showcases his bounce the most, whereas in the half court he's generally more of a cutter and post-up finisher, but he has displayed his ability to beat his defender and get straight to the cup as well. When Lewis gets in the paint, he has excellent footwork, hang time, body control and touch. He can finish around the basket with either hand and has improved his ability to finish through bodies. He's also great at posting up smaller defenders and finishing over them, but I just don't think he'll get many of these opportunities at the next level. Max Lewis is still quite raw. He attempts some ill-advised shots around the rim and is still learning how to maximize his physical tools. He doesn't get to the rim in the half court as much as you would like, and the same thing can be said with his ability to get to the stripe, although it has been better recently. But Lewis has continuously improved over the years, and in the right NBA development system, he has incredible upside as a finisher. Now moving on to his shooting ability. What will get Maxwell Lewis on the floor in the NBA initially is his three-point shooting ability. He has a pretty smooth jumper and NBA range, although he definitely still has some things to clean up mechanically. His lower half isn't consistent at all and his release point is a little bit low. But that being said, Max Lewis is excellent in catch and shoot situations, knocking down 45.1% of those looks, and he'll get a ton of them in the NBA. As I said before, he can pull up from deep off the bounce, so he's going to force defenses to respect his shot, which in turn will open up the floor for him and make it easier for him to attack closeouts. He hasn't really taken many movement threes this season, but he has great touch and has found some success shooting off of handoffs, so with his quick release, smooth form and balance, I think there might be a little something there, and I think it could be a part of his game at the NBA level. Now moving on to the other end of the floor with his defense, Maxwell Lewis has some promising defensive numbers, including a steal percentage and block percentage over 3 last season, so some people would be quick to put that 3-and-D label on him, but in my opinion it's his defensive consistency where he'll have to improve the most to be an impactful NBA player. Given his size, length, and quick twitch athleticism, Lewis definitely has the potential to be a strong perimeter defender. He has really quick hands and will have flashes of his ability to maneuver around screens, get low, slide, and stay in front of his man, but he is just far too inconsistent. He can still be foul prone, too easy to blow by, heavy footed at times, and some of the closeouts are pretty rough. But with his length and timing, he is good at recovering when he's beat and getting a good contest or even blocking a shot attempt, but you'd definitely prefer him to be better at containing his matchup one-on-one. So his point of attack defense is a part of his game that needs some pretty significant work. but I believe he has the tools and work ethic to make it happen, so I still think there's a lot of potential there. As for his help and off-ball D, he's had a decent amount of good defensive possessions off the ball, showing flashes of what he can do in rotations, coming over from the weak side to protect the rim, as well as digging in on ball handlers and getting in passing lanes. But overall, Max Lewis is much more of a disruptive defender than a steady one. His off-ball positioning can be very rough and has to improve. He's often late on rotations, he gets backdoored too much, and he gambles for steals far too often. And in totality, the mistakes greatly outweigh the potential benefits, as these lapses often lead to easy buckets for the opposition. So Max Lewis definitely has some work to do on the defensive end, but a lot of his issues are definitely teachable and not too hard to improve on, and some of the defensive flashes are very impressive, so I still hold the belief Maxwell Lewis can be a very good defender at the NBA level. Now finally, I want to talk about his playmaking and decision making. I think Lewis's passing ability is actually pretty underrated. He's got good vision and is able to read and react to the help. He's a really difficult cover in the pick and roll due to his ability to hit the pull up. So with defenses often stepping up or blitzing him, he's very solid at finding his roller or spraying to the corners. And even in less aggressive coverages, he's made some really good pocket passes and dump offs. And I think in time, he'll earn the opportunity to run a fair amount of pick and rolls in the NBA. Lewis also is a very good playmaker in transition, where he looks to push the pace so he can find other guys running the floor, guys leaking out to the corners, as well as guys trailing on the break. And because of his vision and quickness, he can take it himself off a stop and go coast to coast, and that'll be very helpful in the faster paced NBA. He's not a great playmaker and decision maker by any means. He can get a bit panicky in tight spaces and lose control of the ball, and at times he's a bit predictable with his passes and slow to make a read. But for the most part, Maxwell Lewis is a trustworthy passer and decision maker, and it's a much improved area of his game, but it definitely still has a lot of room for growth. Max Lewis is still a very raw prospect, but the tools, shooting touch and self-creation potential make him a super intriguing talent. He's got a lot of things to work on before the draft, but it'll be interesting to watch how he adjusts and adapts throughout conference play with even more defensive attention. Overall, I'm really high on Maxwell Lewis's upside, and I think he could develop into a secondary scorer with the athleticism and skill set to be impactful on both ends of the floor. And for those reasons, I have him somewhere in the top 10 on my big board. He definitely should be a lottery pick, and I think he could be as high as 6 or 7 for me. Alright, that's all I got for this one. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment down below, subscribe for more. Got more videos coming soon, so stay tuned. Anyway, that's all I got. JB Hoops.